Deep within the majestic Lahore Fort lies a building that echoes with the whispers of history, the Diwan-i-Aam, a place where power, art, and intrigue intersected. This 40-pillared marvel has seen it all: royal grandeur, cannon fire, and even served as a hospital. But hidden within its walls are stories even more mysterious, waiting to be unraveled. Let us journey back to the year 1628, the dawn of Emperor Shah Jahan's reign. This grand structure was constructed during his first year as ruler, a testament to his vision of royal magnificence. However, the Diwan-i-Aam wasn't the first public court at this location. Shah Jahan's grandfather, Emperor Akbar, had already established a simpler version here, a jaroka or balcony under which people would gather to seek justice from their emperor. But, as historian Abdul Hamid Lahori tells us, this wasn't a formal building. In Akbar and Jahangir's time, the public stood beneath an open sky, exposed to the scorching heat, cold winds, and monsoon rains. Temporary canopies provided shade, but there was no permanent structure to shelter the emperor's subjects or the courtiers. Shah Jahan, ever mindful of his legacy, decided to change this. Inspired by the idea of creating a proper space for royal gatherings, Shah Jahan ordered the construction of a grand hall, a 40-pillared masterpiece. It was to stand as a symbol of Mughal glory and provide shelter to those attending court. This ambitious project was entrusted to none other than Shah Jahan's father-in-law, Asif Khan, who also oversaw the construction of Lahore's Shah Burj. The work began with enthusiasm, and after 3 years of tireless effort, the Diwan-i-Aam was completed in 1631. Abdul Hamid Lahori describes this hall as a reflection of Shah Jahan's imagination, brought to life with exquisite craftsmanship. Every detail, from the ornate marble latticework to the intricate carvings, showcased the artisan's unmatched skill. The hall was designed with 3 grand entrances, one on each side. Inside, silver balconies were installed where royal attendants stood in order of rank. Only the most trusted individuals, nobles, and officials were allowed near the jaroka, which served as the focal point of royal audiences. The doors were heavily guarded, ensuring no stranger could enter. But beneath its grandeur lies a hidden mystery. Inside the Diwan-i-Aam is a sealed passageway leading to a series of underground rooms. These rooms are shrouded in tales, some real, some imagined, adding an air of intrigue to this already fascinating structure. Though the hall was meant to serve the public, its use over time leaned towards the elite. Nobles, courtiers, and aristocrats were the primary visitors, while the public remained outside, gazing in awe at the opulent. The floor of the hall was adorned with luxurious carpets, a silent yet powerful statement of Mughal magnificence. Built on an elevated platform, the Diwan-i-Aam still retains remnants of its former glory. The marble lattices, the traces of red sandstone screens, and the echoes of royal decrees remind us of a time when emperors ruled not just with power, but with unparalleled splendor. This is the story of the Diwan-i-Aam, a structure that has witnessed history in its many shades. Its pillars stand as silent witnesses to the rise and fall of empires, and its walls carry the secrets of an era long gone. The grounds you see in front of the Diwan-i-Aam were once known as the Akbari enclosure. During Emperor Akbar's reign, this area was filled with various structures, including royal palaces, the harem, and guest accommodations. But now, no trace of these buildings remains. With the fall of the Mughal Empire, the era of the Sikhs began. Maharaja Ranjit Singh renamed the Diwan-i-Aam to Takhti Raj. While he occasionally held court here, it is said that he never sat on the royal throne of the Diwan-i-Aam. Interestingly, after his death, his body was briefly placed here before being cremated. After Maharaja Ranjit Singh's death, internal conflicts among the Sikhs caused significant damage to this structure. Some historical accounts suggest that during a battle between Maharaja Sher Singh and Maharani Chand Kaur, cannon fire was directed at the Lahore Fort. This bombardment not only damaged the Diwan-i-Aam, but also brought it to the brink of collapse. The scene had entirely changed. The grounds in front of the Diwan-i-Aam, where once elephants roamed and nobles gathered to salute the king standing in the Jaroka, were no longer the same. Instead, it was a shadow of its former glory. Then came the British era, and the grounds were repurposed as a football field. The British even constructed barracks here. Over time, the arches of the Diwan-i-Aam were filled with bricks, transforming the space into a large hall divided into rooms with wooden partitions. These rooms were used as a hospital. It is truly unfortunate that the alterations made during British rule stripped the Diwan-i-Aam of its grandeur and architectural magnificence. In the late 19th century, around 1890, the British established the Archaeological Department in India. Experts of the time hoped to restore and preserve historical structures like those in the Lahore Fort. The goal was to separate these historic monuments from military barracks and present them as heritage sites. But progress was slow. It wasn't until the early 20th century, under Lord Curzon, that restoration efforts began in earnest. One of the first projects was the Moti Masjid. By 1902, the British military began vacating the ancient structures of the fort, and by 1903, the Diwan-i-Aam, sleeping chamber, and the Moti Masjid were handed over to the Archaeological Department. These were the initial steps towards preserving the Lahore Fort, similar to the forts in Agra and Delhi. Restoring the Diwan-i-Aam was no easy task. During the restoration, archaeologists discovered the remains of sandstone steps in front of the Jaroka, which were reconstructed. After removing architectural additions, it was decided to retain the existing roof and arches. The modern brick roof was replaced with Lahore's traditional bricks, some of which were repaired and others laid anew. By the early decades of the 20th century, the Diwan-i-Aam had been restored to its current form, the one you see today. One fascinating feature of the veranda floor of the Diwan-i-Aam is a grill that leads to an underground room. Though currently sealed, those who venture below find a series of chambers believed to be part of Akbar's palace. These rooms connect to the Daulat Khana-e-Khasoam and the Jaroka Palace. Today, these chambers are dark, and according to fort staff, they may house snakes and scorpions. Some guides believe that one of these chambers served as a holding area where prisoners were presented before the king, but I doubt this theory. Upon exploring the area, I found that these rooms were part of a larger network, connecting to Akbar's palace from one side and the Jaroka Palace on the other. In my view, these chambers are remnants of Akbar's palace, whose corridors were sealed with bricks during later periods. Some believe that these passageways were once used by royal servants to access the Diwan-i-Aam discreetly. Others claim that the area is haunted, with eerie, inhuman sounds heard at night. Why was this passage sealed? According to a fort officer, several reasons exist. The current condition of the structure below is unknown. The risk of dangerous creatures is high, and keeping the area open could lead to safety concerns for visitors. The passage remains sealed to protect both the monument and the people. After the creation of Pakistan, the Diwan-i-Aam became a venue for state dinners and receptions. Today, it is open to the public, but remember, this is no longer the building Shah Jahan originally constructed. What stands here now is a restored glimpse of the past, shaped by centuries of history, conflict, and change.